Receive a reading from our panel. Hi and welcome to All About You, and thanks for joining us tonight, guys. And I'd just like to introduce our panel this evening. First up we have Linda Yusso. Thank you for coming back and being one of our regulars. And Josephine Sartor, it's wonderful to have you back again.
Great to be back.
And we're going to chat with you ladies in a moment, but I just also want to introduce our special guest for this evening, Michael Haber from Healthy Hypnosis, clinical and medical hypnotherapy.
G'day, Vivian.
G'day, it's great to have you
Thank you for the opportunity.
We're so looking forward to having this discussion tonight, because I have been a client of Michael's in the past, and that's why I've asked him to come on the show, because he is magnificent at what he does. Okay, ladies, what's everybody been up to? You've been in the United States, yes, Josephine. What's going on? Has it been a working holiday?
Yes, like a working holiday, catching up and doing different things, different projects. And
East Coast or West Coast?
East Coast, New York City. Yes, and I love New York City.
New York, New York.
Yes, yes.
So, how long were you over there for?
Well, I've been away for 5 weeks all in total, but I had 2 weeks in New York.
2 weeks in New York?
2 weeks in New York, just 2 weeks.
You love that place.
I do.
But you've got regular clients there as well that you go back to see.
Yes, and also new clients that come that hear of me through them.
Yes.
And it's quite exciting, and they're very interesting, and you know, it's always very great to go over there and expand yourself even further.
You've developed quite a reputation over there.
Yes, I have.
I've heard that you're very, very popular with the hierarchy in the political world, the fashion world,
yes,
the beauty and the entertainment industry. You've got quite a clientele over there.
Yes, and of course they build from their clientele. Of course, their clientele come to me, so it's always ongoing, and they're very interesting. They learn off me, and I learn from them. So it's great.
Because every time I talk to you, you're on another trip.
Yes.
Goodness gracious. You're going to finish up living there one day.
Oh, yes, Australia will always be home, but it's great to expand. And, of course, you know, knowledge is knowledge, and you never stop learning, and you never stop meeting new and exciting people. And it's what I love to do.
And you also found a great dress in a beautiful shop in New York.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
That's
such
new. That's Sex in the City fashion.
Yes.
Shop till you drop in New York,
oh,
girl.
I do, don't you worry.
You always come back with a new handbag, some awesome shoes, and now you've got that dress.
Yes.
Oh, ow, the Chanel boots.
And the Chanel boots.
Oh, my goodness. They were incredible, the Chanel boots.
Shopper's paradise.
And you're both travelling, phenomenal world-trotting people. Now, you go to New Zealand quite a bit, don't you?
Yeah, 3 to 4 times a year, yeah. I teach in the beautiful South Island, Queenstown.
Oh, so beautiful.
Absolutely,
I love
absolutely.
the South Island.
Whether summer or winter, it's just jaw-dropping. But, yeah, I've been going over there probably now for about 4 or 5 years.
And you go over there how many times a year?
At least 4 times. A bonus, my son lives over there as well, so it's just a plus. But yeah, I work in the galleries in Queenstown, so I read there. So it's just an amazing place.
Yeah.
But I just finished wrapping up our summit this weekend. So over, done with, beautiful students that have just completed their 6-week online course with myself and Lisa, so that was exciting.
That must have been, I remember when we were talking just before that was about to start. So that 6 weeks is already done.
Already done.
That feels like it was just 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, so it all wrapped up last night, so we went out and celebrated and had something to eat together, and it was just like, tired, exhausted, beautiful students, but now we'll wait and see.
Yeah. And the fantastic Lisa Williams, who was on our show a couple of months ago now. So you worked together.
Yeah, we did in partnership. Lisa did the online site, and then I had all my beautiful students come here to New South Wales and did a 3-day intense workshop with me. So, and it was gorgeous because Lisa Skyped live from Norway on the Saturday and spoke to all the students, a beautiful pep talk, or what we call Mama Bear. So yeah, she gave them all a beautiful pep talk.
What
and
a
it was
wonderful
gorgeous.
collaboration to be able to have somebody overseas working online, and then you're there to facilitate and be there to sort of in the physical to keep it going.
Absolutely,
It's a great combination of the two.
As we were saying, you know, earlier on, technology has changed the way we perceive and how we can sort of expand from one country to the next and sort of all coming together as one. It's amazing.
Yeah, and a lot of online courses don't really offer the physical presence and as well. And I find there's something missing with online courses a little bit for that reason. I've never been really pulled to doing online courses, but if I knew that I had someone as a facilitator, I'd be much more inclined to do it. And we just want to say thank you so much for Lisa joining us via Skype. It was a couple of months ago now, wasn't it?
It was. As I said, it's this week was the 7 weeks, so they've finished their 6 weeks and their workshop.
What a great success.
Yeah, a beautiful, beautiful 2 months of, I'm sure they're all at home relaxing and saying, thank God that was over. But no, they did extremely well and did us all very, very proud.
Well, you've got to train that muscle. You've got to work the muscle.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, looking forward to getting some great readings out there tonight, and also I'm very much looking forward to our topic of discussion tonight, the power of the mind. And let me tell you, with Michael Haber here tonight, we're going to learn a lot about how powerful our mind is and how we can try and work with that power. And thank you first up for joining us.
What a great opportunity. Thank you for inviting me, Vivian.
Now, I just wanted to tell our viewers at home that I came to know Michael through the beautiful Josephine, and Josephine recommended that I see you, and I did.
Yes.
And in my experience with you as a client, I found very, very short period of time between where I was at in a situation and what I needed to do to make some change, and I found that that was a very quick process for me anyway to get to that. And we were just talking in the green room before, weren't we, how I had learnt a technique from you, and this was have to be about 1.5 years ago that I saw you, would it be?
Approximately, yeah, that rings a bell.
1.5 years ago. And I actually used that technique that you gave to me in a circumstance that I had in the middle of this week that was very stressful, and it was to a public audience, and I was very nervous, and it was basically something that Michael taught me to say. Viv, tell yourself when you get nervous, I know my shit. Sorry for swearing on Facebook, TV land. And I had to say it to myself because I was having a panic attack, and I didn't want to go forward and go out to this audience and present. And the second I remember is, what can I do to try and calm myself down? And I remember the trigger that you gave me to say, I know my shit. And I said it. And in that instant, I just came down from this kind of panic situation to a much more capable, I'll just say capable of coping with my fear. And I went on and I did my thing.
And that was really sourced from our initial discussion, and what you fed to me was that particular phrase, and it really stood out in my mind. So whilst we're in that hypnotherapy chair, the opportunity to replay that to you in a slightly different way really shows how powerful our subconscious mind is. It takes in 2 billion bits of information per second and stores it at the right time, and when you really need that little lift, that's when it can just rise to the surface. And all it took was you to do those tools after you left the office to reinforce that new behaviour, and when you needed it, it worked.
Because of that, you're right. I do remember now. I actually, you asked me, you said, Viv, it was about makeup, being a makeup artist, and you said something, and I said, well, I know my shit. I've been doing it for 25 years, I know it. And you said that's what you're going to say the next time you get in a situation where you feel overwhelmed or...
And all it takes that trigger, and that trigger can just start a whole new chain of events, because it's the other trigger, the fear, or the fear about the fear could take you down a completely different path where you feel out of control, or that trigger could bring you back and just stabilise you and bring you in a path of just, okay, here's a new opportunity, I'm centred.
I want to go back a little bit later to the fear about the fear, because that's something I think a lot of people have said to me, oh, it's fine knowing techniques, it's fine knowing what to do, but what about when the fear takes over the fear and then it's like a train out of control?
Yeah, it's a train wreck, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's where what you do. Now, what got you into hypnotherapy to begin with? What attracted you to it?
It was just completely by mistake. I actually worked with a beautiful family-owned company that was a national company in Australia, and they were... I was their estate manager for a while, and there was an opportunity to be their national training manager as well. So the opportunity arose, and once I started training new people, I really enjoyed taking people from where they were to where they needed to be. And from that, after working there for 15 years, I decided I wanted to get my own business, and I wanted to help people. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I figured, you know what, just go and do as many courses, see what you like, see what you don't like. And I remember this one course kept calling, I kept noticing a small little tiny sign. It was literally beside this big sign in this little tiny A4 frame. For a completely different course, which is hypnotherapy course. And I remember the first time I saw it, it caught my eye, and I thought, that's interesting. And the second time I saw it, that's it. There's got to be something in it. And that literally led me down the path where I am today, to be clinically trained, and 7 years later.
And what's the difference between clinically trained and medically trained?
Okay. Because the profession is self-regulated, what they've done is created 3 large hypnotherapy organisations, and they've just established a basic training so that the methodology is consistent throughout. And fundamentally it means that it's a 2-year course, it's a government accredited course, and it's a matter of working with just fundamentally having a basic understanding, and then the requirement is, of course, that you need to keep your licence. You need to do 24 hours of training every 12 months.
Is that to keep your licence current?
Absolutely, annually.
So you have to do that every year?
Absolutely, and also having 12 hours minimal with one-on-one direct supervision with a mentor. But most of us guys that love it, you sort of triple that training, and you're up to 75 hours, and it's just something, the more you learn, as Josephine said earlier, knowledge is power, but it's only really useful if you apply it. You know, you can go and train all you like, if you don't do anything with it, it's totally useless. So it's a matter of just learning more, being mentored by the right people, and having feedback like it's happening when you and I met, and the success you had, and that's because you decided to work with me and do those things we agreed to afterwards.
And are there any specific areas of hypnotherapy that you like to focus on?
As a clinically trained, I do a lot, but the 4 I absolutely adore is smoking cessation, and in fact it's something I pride myself on, and my particular process is a single session 80% of the time, and I offer a lifetime guarantee for that. So they start smoking 6 months or 6 years later, there's no further outlay, it's totally supportive for life. I work on with people that suffer from PTSD. We don't change, the memory's still there, we just change the feelings and emotions attached to that memory.
Yes.
So it isn't as strong as when they think about it. Weight reduction, I'm very mindful of my words. It's not weight loss, because the mind has an ability to interpret words in a certain way. So the word loss could be a genuine loss. So we always talk about weight reduction. That's subtle word power.
That makes a lot of sense.
And anxiety and stress is basically what I see 20 to 30 times a week.
Okay, now even though I know, you know, and there's situations that I've had in my life where you find as you mature that you're repeating sometimes the same patterns over and over and over, and you're like, well, gosh, this isn't helping me, that isn't helping me. I understand mentally why I'm doing what I'm doing, or my past, or whatever's contributed to it. Why is it that I still keep tripping up and I still keep making these same patterns and same mistakes? And this is where hypnotherapy is so powerful, isn't it?
Absolutely. Look, there's a theory of mind where the conscious mind learns the task. It's a logical, it's the rational part of our brain, and the subconscious, that 90% of our mind that if you look at an iceberg on the water, that part you don't see is the subconscious. That's doing all our behaviours behind the scene. That part of the mind is doing things because it's learnt to do those things. So when the conscious mind gets overwhelmed, the subconscious says, no worries, I'll look after you. We go straight back at this habitual state, and that habitual state might be positive or negative behaviour, but it replays it over and over and over again. So what we do in hypnotherapy is we really get you into a nice relaxed state where we allow you to replay that in a very different way, so we start building new neural paths, because think of our subconscious mind as really lazy. It always goes through the path of least resistance. So when the conscious mind gets overwhelmed, the subconscious mind says, you beauty, I'll go down this path. It's just easier, we've done it before.
I know it, it's safe.
It doesn't
at least I know the outcome.
Totally, it doesn't matter what's good or bad, it just says you've always done this. So in hypnotherapy, we change that, we start punching out new neural paths, if you like, and when the mind's been there, it's easy for the body to follow.
So what is the difference between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, and at what levels do we operate at both?
Yeah, so,
what causes that trigger? You say that how much stress do we have before we drop down?
Yep.
So firstly, what is the difference between, I know most people know, oh, I know what a conscious mind is and a subconscious mind, but you showed me this chart in your office one day, and
which is a good visual tool, isn't it?
Yeah, and that, you know, this is your conscious and this is your subconscious. So what's the difference in the thinking processes between the two?
So the conscious mind, it's rational. It's supposed to learn new tasks, and that's fundamentally what it does. It's very logical. It's where our conscious thought is. It's where our it's the part of the mind that can solve a problem. If the computer goes down or your phone's playing up, it can solve that problem. Whereas the subconscious is the feeling and emotional part of a brain. So it doesn't use any logic to come to its conclusions. It just uses the emotion and attaches attaches the emotions to the memories. So what the subconscious part of the mind does, it observes, and then takes in information, stores it, puts it in a folder, and plays that automatically. Then we have this critical or analytical part of the brain that's in between the two that gets developed around about the ages 7, 8 or 9, where most of our personality is developed by then. And so what it does, it just goes into this, so we basically learn all our behaviours by that certain age, and so therefore it governs between the two. So your logical part of your brain says, okay, this makes sense, the subconscious says this makes sense, and this analytical or analytical part of our brain says, okay, this is going to be the outcome.
So that makes that's the decider.
Yeah, and that was trained from a young age for 6, 7 or 8.
Can I just ask you one question? Say, for instance, somebody has an accident or they suffer from some form of PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder. And what happens to the mind in that situation that changes? It
just gets so overwhelmed, and when it attaches what the subconscious tries to do, it tries to attach feelings and emotions to it. So if the trigger was so traumatic, that memory, when thought about, it doesn't matter if it happened 20 years ago or 30 years ago or 10 years ago, that memory, when thought about, attaches all this emotion to it. And that's the emotion that it feels like it happened yesterday. It's almost like in your face. It's reminding you just how bad it was.
So what sort of circumstances or situations would you recommend hypnotherapy for regularly?
Okay. That's a good question. So I would, for anything it's a habit, anything it's a behavioural issue. I've had multiple clients that have come to see me that have been, seeing psychologists for tics, nervous tics, and when a client comes to see me for a tic, depending where it is in our body, it's just our body's way of manifesting that behaviour. It's actually us trying to hide it at some level, but our body cannot lie. What I mean by that is, if you ever have a situation where a friend says, let's go to a restaurant, and the restaurant's terrible, you don't want to go, and the first thing you say is, yeah, I'll go. That's your body saying, it can't lie.
But your head's nodding.
It's nodding, no, I can't.
Yeah, I'll go.
You want to be polite, and you go through that process. So the tic, for example, is just the body's way of manifesting. So if it's a tic in the eye, for example, what don't they want to see?
Oh wow!
So it's a process that way, and it's a matter of so it's tics. I've had, and these I've had weight reduction, all those sort of things, and any addiction I love. I love working with addictions, and that's something I do quite frequently, and anxiety and stress as well.
Because so many people resort to medication for anxiety and depression, and that brings with it both sides. But there's positive and there's some setbacks to that as well. Wouldn't it be great if you can do it naturally, or at least try that first? I think there's a place for everything.
Yeah, and where I come from, a place that really follows the doctor's orders without fail. But I've also understand that some clients just want to get off medication. They've been on medication for 10 years, they haven't noticed any real difference. Yeah. And I understand there's maybe 20% of the population that need that medication, and the other 80% are really having it because they've been told to have it. And I think as a medical profession, they tend to look at things from a disease point of view, and that's where they often recommend medications, because that's what they're trained to do.
Yeah, and sometimes it might be a complementary thing where they might need medication for a while, and then they can work through it, and they can work their way off
Hold
it.
their hand as they go through the process.
So you're taking them and helping them rebuild those neural pathways. And I'm such a big fan of I really believe that we can rebuild the power of the mind to rebuild those pathways.
Definitely.
And they get set pretty quickly, I think you said too. If you just keep repeating a pattern, those pathways.
Yes, and then we attach emotion and feeling to it, and it becomes even stronger.
It's sort of like a train track. Is that what the pathway looks like? It's like a little train track, so it's easy for the thought to go down the tried and true track.
I always tell my clients, look, just imagine the subconscious is incredibly lazy. It just goes down the path of least resistance every single time. So we're really creating new neural paths, and that happens in the hypnotherapy chair, but also happens outside of the hypnotherapy chair. And when a client agrees to do those really simple tasks after they leave, that's when the magic happens. It isn't just in the chair. It's not, hypnotherapy is not done at you, it's done with you. It's working together.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's working in your muscle, isn't it? It's basically retraining. Like you have to go to the gym to get to change your body. We have to go to the mental gym to change our thinking habits and those patterns as well. And I'm such a, you know, when people say to me, look, this is who I am, or this is what I do, I think, well, no, you don't have to be. You could, I think I've had 5 different metamorphoses in my life. I've changed personality a ton of times. I'm going to try this. Oh, I want to try that.
Well, I came to you, Michael, for hypnotherapy, and I picked you out of a phone book, the Yellow Pages, and then a client of mine had told me about you, and it's funny, I picked you out. I rang you up, I liked your voice over the phone, very professional, which is true.
Thank you, Jessica.
Okay, and then just by looking at you, you hypnotised me, because I tell you what, you're a good-looking dude. Okay?
You know, my number one friend.
I'll second and one up there.
He's hot. I'm going to up you one up for you back. I know you're not married, but I'm happily married, so are you.
But it also...
Thank you, Jessica.
But it also comes with the voice, you know, whether it's meditation, hypnotherapy, or whatever it is, you've got to feel relaxed, and you have got that relaxing, you know, voice that will take someone quite down. And it has to come from the voice, and you've got to feel comfortable with the person that you're sitting with, and you just radiate all of that sitting there.
I remember when I very first went in, to be honest, I thought this isn't going to happen. And I was having a conversation with Marg earlier today as well, because Marg, our EP, said, I can't be hypnotised. It just doesn't, I can't be hypnotised.
Sure,
okay,
Marg.
good night, great. We'll see how that one goes for you. And when I first went to see you, within about 10 minutes, we hadn't even got in the chair yet, and I was going, whew, I feel so... It was like you create this whole... It feels like you're soaking in butter, Ross. It's just a really beautiful serenity.
I say to all my clients, hypnotherapy starts as soon as you walk in the door. They think it's the chair, which is fine. It starts as soon as you walk in.
Oh, wow.
You know, it's really...
Because that's how it felt.
Yes, and that's how it should feel,
but
really.
Also, too, Michael, what I found with you is that you explained everything, okay, which was very important, because I just thought you just, you know, tick-tock, tick-tock.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that. Plus, you loved what you do. You love what you do, and it shows.
Thank you.
Okay, and that's why I recommended so many people to you.
have.
And they've all been very, very satisfied and have written beautiful testimonials.
Yep.
So, you know, it's a credit to you.
And the multitude of people you've sent to me, you've set them up in a really nice way. They understand it's really going to take 2 people to work together. So there's no false expectations. And I find those people are the best, because they walk out of my office and you just see change happen week to week to week to week.
Yes.
And it's the analogy we used before about muscle, training your muscle. I always tell my clients, look, you don't go to the gym one day in your life and just pick up one dumbbell and say, man, my arms look great.
Yeah.
You go to the gym multiple times to build that muscle. Our mind is a muscle, and the more you exercise it to be in control, the more you exercise it to be confident, the more exercise you be to whatever. The mind gets it, and eventually we tell the mind what to do. And that's the trouble. We don't speak kindly to ourselves. We'll replay something we did silly 2 or 3 or 4 years ago, and we'll replay it, and we'll replay it, and we'll replay it. And it's it's unfortunate, because, you know, we're more than just our mistakes. It's got us to where we are, but we're more than our mistakes. So I teach my clients how to speak more kindly to themselves and appreciate just how amazing they are. Remind them just how far they've come.
Well, the reason I went down to see Michael was to get confidence, because it's a thing that I've dealt with my whole life, and I was extremely shy as a child, and I know it doesn't seem like it now, but it's bad, like shy attacks, major. And it was because I knew I was about to start working on this show, and I had a lot of shyness and fear and lack of self-confidence, and a year and a half later we're both sitting here together, and that's a testament to itself, isn't it?
Well, you know, it's working together, and that's what I really loved about our sessions, and including Josephine, just the fact that you're prepared to do those things afterwards and really reinforce the whole session, each session.
Yeah, and I feel like it's time to, because, you know, over a period of time you sort of go a little bit back to the old ways, so I think it's good to go back and keep
Absolutely.
revisiting that.
refresh them off.
Marg, the EP, has just spoken in my ear and said she's done, she's sold. She's coming down to see you in Wollongong, and she just wants you to know she thinks you're hot too.
Oh, Marg, you're gorgeous. I'm looking forward to
That
helping
is
you, Marg.
funny.
It's all right. No, she said she's embarrassed now. Well, you said it, Marg, so you know what? That's the new trigger. You're going to have to live with it.
Little devil.
Now, you, what's your process and how many sessions do people generally need when they first come to you? Say they are a smoker, and they say, okay, I've been smoking for 20 years, and you know.
What I love to share about any sessions is I hate putting a number on anything, because it puts people in a box, and they've all of a sudden get to session 2, I should be here, session 3, I should be here. So I say, look, if you're a smoker, I say 80% of the time a single session is all they're required. It will take 2 to 3 hours, and the other 20% of the time it could be 2 sessions, it could be 3 sessions, but one investment covers them for life. And if they, you know, as human beings, we make a mistake, and that neural path starts to flounder after a couple of years, and they make that simple mistake, there's no further outlay. They just come back, and we just get them back on track and work together again.
So in that case, you've got a pretty high success rate.
I love it. And the one thing I pride myself on, and I love it, is I call my clients 3 days after our session, I call them a month after our session, I call them 6 months after our session. I ask permission to do this, of course.
Yes.
And 12 months after our session, because the anniversary date is the most important date to me. As my clients, you know, their health cover, their life cover drops nearly 80% once they've been a non-smoker for 12 months.
Amazing.
80%, nearly 80%. So it's worthwhile to pursue for many reasons, not just the
For
financial.
financial reasons.
The financial's wonderful.
That's it.
And everything else, I sort of suggest between 3 and 5 sessions. And again, I tell my clients, look, you're going to determine how many sessions we need. It could take 2, and if that's fine, not a problem. If it takes 3, you will know after each session how you're feeling and how your week's progressed, because you're going to notice what you enjoyed and you're going to notice what you didn't enjoy. And they're the things we need to tweak up and modify as we go stronger and build that muscle.
I certainly noticed after my first session with you, you gave me this really great packet of tools to take with me and to practice with. I had my homework. And when I did that, I could actually feel it changing.
Yes. When they sit in the hypnotherapy chair, I say, that's the mind. We're working on that. And the mind influences the body. So as soon as they leave here today, if they do nothing different, don't use those tools, for example, eventually the mind says, what's the body doing? That's more familiar, that's more comfortable, I'll go back to doing that. So if a client comes to see me, they want me to change them, and the way I explain the mind model, there's actually nothing wrong with them, so there's nothing to physically fix. If they don't change, then fundamentally, by doing something different, then what happens is the part we worked on in the hypnotherapy chair is rendered useless, or it isn't as powerful, or just takes a lot longer for change to happen, because they need the two to work together. And in hypnotherapy, in clinical hypnotherapy, it's called the golden handshake. It's where the conscious mind and the subconscious mind actually agree on the same process, and we call that the golden handshake because there's no conflict. There's just peace and harmony in our mind, because we both agree in the outcome. They both agree, the conscious and the subconscious. I love it. I'll talk for hours. You need to shut me up.
No, I'm very absorbed in it, because I think sometimes, you know, our greatest adversaries are ourselves. You know, and we often say, oh, it's this person, or it's that person, or it's this situation or job or whatever, but it's within us, because you know, if we're triggered by it, it's our stuff. If somebody's making us feel uncomfortable or jealous, or you know, intimidated,
exactly.
It's you know, we can control that. We can choose how to react to that.
Be in charge of things we're in charge of, and leave the rest of it to somebody else. But the things we're in charge of, we have power over, and they're the things we can make a genuine change.
That's a beautiful way. We're going to leave it there, but we're going to come back with you a little bit later, because we want that to be part of the topic of discussion. I can see the ladies have got a great deal to offer with that as well. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
And Marg and I will see you next week. Okay, so we're just going to get on with our viewer questions, guys, and snapshot readings tonight. We're just moving through this pretty quickly tonight, and we're going to start with you, Linda. Now, we have a lady by the name of Pamela. She is born on the 14th of the 12th, 1950, and she says, is my mum's house going to sell? Is she okay that I'm selling the house, and is she around?
Hi Pamela, how are you, sweetheart? Thank you for connecting with us tonight. I do feel Mum's around you, sweetie. She's been around for a little while, and I have got that distance, so I feel Mum's been gone for a little while. So I have got that settlement connected around it. There's a sense of loneliness around you, especially within the home, and I will say Mum's basically laughing about, you know, why are you keeping all these things? Because I feel like there's a lot of decluttering that needs to be done connected around you. She's okay because you are hanging on to material things connected to her, and she's letting me know that she's basically here within your heart. There's a lot of love connected to you and Mum, because I've got very, very close or very, very close friends. You've been hanging on to this home for a very, very long time because of Mum or because of your memories connected to Mum. But I do feel like it's got to the stage in your life where we need to declutter or we need to downsize. And Pamela, you need to find a place that belongs to you. Not the memories from the past, not the memories of Mum. Mum will always be there, but it's time to own you and the person that you are, and that's starting off afresh. They're giving me the next 4 months, so I do believe it won't be this side of Christmas, but I do feel there's new beginnings on moving forward. I keep getting a for sale sign sitting around this, but I don't know whether you're still hesitant of, will I do it? Is Mum okay? No matter where you go, the things that you've collected that are very, very close to you is basically that is what you will take with you. Mum's also letting me know that you wear her ring, so I have got this beautiful ring connected around her, and she's saying to me that she's here. She's here. She's not within the home or within the foundations of the home. It's right here connected around here. I'm just going to pull a few cards for you, sweetheart, so I can get a little bit more of a time frame for you. But I do feel the next 4 months is very, very relevant. The first card I pull, sweetheart, is basically Archangel Gabriel, which is the angel between mother and child. So it lets me know all about you, nurturing you and giving birth to your dreams and the dreams that you and Mum had together. And it's all about movement and it's all about your dreams. We go into the month of January where it lets me know you'll have all the resources and you will have the ability to believe in yourself and where you want to go. And life starts to become a little bit of magical as we go into the month of February. It's all about renewing, reviewing, re-evaluating who you are. Lots of water. There will be lots of tears connected to the movement around this, but I do get lots of laughter because I think I've let go of the old and I've moved forward with where Pamela needs to be within the new. No matter where you go, sweetheart, in life, and no matter what you decide to do, you do what's right for you, not what's expected or what you think is expected for you. So it's about you, loving you. Mum wouldn't want you to stay in that house and stay there by yourself. She wants you to find life back within you. Lots of love, sweetheart. I hope that helps you. Thanks for connecting.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Okay, Josephine, we have a lady by the name of Lisette.
Yes.
And she's born in the 8th of the 3rd, 1971.
Okay.
I'm in a current relationship that I've been in for more than 3.5 years. Is the man for me for the future?
Okay, thanks, Lisette, for your question. And first of all, I just feel that this year has not been favourable for you at all. I'm also picking up that there's been a lot of confusion. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. It's a yo-yo relationship. I know we all have yo-yo relationships. But I also pick up, Lisette, that next year you're going to be in a time of realisation. It's a time where you need to realise where you are heading, because it's like you've been in a fog, and this fog is clearing, and I'm going to pick up by the end of March, beginning of April next year, and it's a time where you're going to realise whether you want to stay in this relationship and ask yourself, are you happy with your lifestyle? Are you happy with your career? Are you happy with your relationship? That's very, very important. I just feel that you're the mover in this relationship and things are a little bit stuck, a little bit tacky. So I do pick up that in 2 years' time there'll be major big changes in your life, so there's some sort of big transformation coming up, but that's not yet. Next year is a time where you really, really have to focus on realising where you want to be, okay? And the people that you meet next year, they're going to help you change the course of your life for some reason, and I feel it's a positive, but I just feel that it's very tacky, this relationship. Sticky. Okay, and I just feel that you're the puller in this all the time. So you're the one that's always got to have the movement or the suggestions. And I just see you sitting in a corner with your hands crossed. and thinking, where the hell am I going? So in answer to your question, I feel there's still a lot of work that needs to be done, but I just feel that you're going to have to realise a few things because you're not ready to let go as yet. That's the truth. Okay.
Truth is the truth.
That's the truth.
Very good. Thank you so much.
That's okay.
Okay, Linda, we have Vicky, 3rd of the 1st, 63. Will I get that job in February that I've been wanting? And if so, will it be February or later in the year?
Hi Vicky, how are you, sweetie? What I've got around you is a sense of books or a sense of relearning. So they're letting me know of something quite different than what what you're used to. I keep getting your hand, so they're letting me know of service or some connection connected around service. And I do feel that you're there for other people, so it's letting me know that you're up here, not under there, sweetie. What I want to say to you is February. I feel there's been either 2 applications or 2 applications separately connected to what you're going for. I feel like at the moment you're at a stalemate, or you've got a little bit of a, shall we say, a speed bump sitting on top of you. I do see you working, I do see finances sitting on top of you, but I do feel it's a job. What I do see coming into the new year, I feel more so March than February, but I do get career, not job, connected around that. You're a pretty strong individual, sweetheart, so you don't take no, so I have got that strength connected around you. So I'm going to say don't take second best connected around that. Stand your ground connected to who you are, or believing in your self-worth. I've got study, so it's letting me know that you've worked really, really hard towards this connected around the beginning of the year. I will say if that application has not been put in, or you haven't signed on the dotted line connected around that, I would do it right before the month of October. I keep getting a graduation hat around you as well, so it lets me know of something ending and something beginning connected around it. I want to say ticks, 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 ticks. I feel like you've either had 3 years or 3 years study connected around you. Okay, Dom. What I get around you is trust who you are and trust in the process. There's been a lot of decluttering going around you with people, so it's letting me know of letting go for you to move forward, because I do feel like, as I said to you, you're either locking horns or at a stalemate or a bit of a speed bump at the moment, and I really want to push you out the door. I really want to give you a bit of a shove. You know, we usually get a final notice when we put in any applications connected around work, and I'm going to say to you, even if it comes to the final hour, don't give up, because I do feel big ticks connected around this. I will say to you, believe in the process, or believe this is the right thing for you, because I feel you've really done your homework, and I see page upon page upon page upon page of applications that you've had to put in. I will say to you, by the time we are into the beginning of the year, there is a process as far as interviews. I do see, as I said, the 2, so I do feel there could be a process or elimination connected around that. Don't walk out thinking that you're not confident. Walk out with your head held high and walk out with that positive, yes, this is mine, I'm going to sell me, this is who I am, I've got this, and I do see ticks connected around it. But don't give up, sweetie, because I just feel like it's like the job is moulded for you or made for you. So good luck with all of that. Viv, can you just pick 3 crystals for me, sweetheart?
Oh, yes, most definitely. Of course, I have to have the one that's hard to get.
Beautiful, beautiful turquoise. Keep going. Turquoise is all of the throat. It's all about communication, which is basically selling yourself, public. Your truth will set you free. Talk. So it's all about communication, speaking your truth, hearing your truth. Don't let anyone tell you that you can and can't do this, because you can. The green stone is an aventurine, which is basically all around the heart, believing in yourself. Let go of all the crap that's sort of sitting around you at the moment and move forward into who you are. It is also the stone of abundance, so it's letting me know financially you're going to be okay and everything's going to be okay connected around this. This one's very, very interesting. It's the stone I use, which is a lapis. Very, very similar to communication. Stone of protection. It's the stone of a higher. You've got a really, really good intuition, sweetheart, and you've got a good gut. that gut won't let you down. So go with that, you know, whatever comes first is the correct answer. So use your intuition, move forward, sell you, don't give up, and good luck. All the best, darling.
Thank you. Beautiful. Great advice for everyone tonight. Josephine, we have a lady called Anne. Unfortunately, no birth date's been supplied. I'm entering into 2 new business ventures with 2 different partners. Can you tell me if the businesses are going to be successful? One business opportunity is in Australia and the other is overseas in Bali.
Okay. Well, the first thing that I picked up, congratulations. What's her name?
Anne.
Anne. Congratulations, Anne. I picked up Asia. That was the first thing that came to me. But I didn't know it was Hong Kong, China, Singapore. I did not know. But I picked up Asia, and I also picked up interstate. So I don't know if this business is going interstate, Anne. But I'm seeing Queensland, I'm seeing Victoria, all right across interstate as well. It's going to be a little bit slow moving, and I want you to be very careful with Bali or with Asia, whatever
There's
it is.
two, she says there's two different ones here and one's in Bali.
Is it Asia? Okay, well,
yeah, so one's Asia and one's in
Okay,
Australia.
well, I'm picking up, I saw Asia, but I didn't know which Asian country, but I saw Asia. You need to read the fine print carefully about Asia, okay? So you just need to really watch what you're signing, watch what you're doing, and you need to be on the mark with that country for some reason with Asian, okay? So it's just telling me to just read the fine print carefully. I feel it will take off slowly, especially the overseas, okay? So it will take off slowly. The Australian market also will do well, but not yet. There's going to be a few hiccups before you actually take off, okay? But I feel it's already started to move, the Australian one, okay? And the Asian one will take off, and I'm going more towards the middle of next year for some reason. There's also something that I'm picking up about a logo, Anne, something about a logo, and it needs to be changed or it needs to be fixed, something about a logo. So that's what I'm picking up on.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so good luck.
Thank you. Thank you both, ladies. Very good advice. So now let's go over to our topic of discussion, the power of the mind. So this is a group discussion, and it follows in very much with what we've been talking about with Michael earlier this evening about hypnotherapy and the power of the mind. And of course, you know that when the ladies do their work, tapping into spirit and their psychic abilities, that they're also trying to help a lot of their clients with developing different traits of positivity or overcoming difficulties, because often people will come to you when they're going through a difficult time.
Yes.
And then you're simultaneously doing the same with a different modality, and but you also work with hypnotherapy as well.
Yeah.
So the power of the mind, to me, the mind is all-powerful. And I think that sometimes we think that it's not the mind, but it really is the mind playing tricks with us. You know, that's the saying, the mind's just playing tricks with you. So let's go for it, guys. How powerful is the mind, and how can we change it for the better?
Positive thinking,
Yes.
reversing the negative into the positive.
Yes.
Absolutely. Whether it's what Michael does or what we do, it's basically giving everyone that sense of taking them out of their this is what I think it is to what they are capable of doing. So it's just, I just want to share one little story, if you don't mind. I have had an amazing woman that I've been working with for 2 years on a spiritual level, not a hypnotherapy level. And she came to me, and we're very open about it because she has just written quite a bit in a book for me. She came to me, and I had picked up a medical issue. Now, as everyone knows, we are not medical doctors and we are not trained, but I advised her to go and see a doctor. Hence, it was terminal lung cancer. And anyway, she came back, and I'm a meditation instructor, and she sat in meditation with me for a long time, and we did quite a few readings. And the doctor had said to her, "It's inoperable. There's nothing we can do anymore. Go home and enjoy what you have left." Anyway, we continued to do the readings, and I always say to my students, or anyone that does a reading, always leave someone better than what they were before they sat down with you. We must always give someone a bit of hope. I don't believe you were diagnosed with this because the power of the mind can change the outcome, if that makes sense, darling. Because I said to her, there is faith, never ever give up on who you are. And I said to her, within 18 months, I believe that you will be operated on and the outcome will be okay. She went, come and sat down in front of me at the NBS, last MBS in Sydney, and she said to me, Linda, 18 months to the day. I was operated on. She had to relearn to breathe. She didn't look like the same person I had first seen. She was only half the person I remember her, but she was alive. And she said, and the only thing that kept her here today was my voice saying, it's going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Did she, was it what I had seen, or did her faith, her mind, believe that she would be okay? I have got two people within my life, my mother and my auntie, both diagnosed with breast cancer. My mother was diagnosed when my baby daughter was born. So at the same time I came out of the hospital, I handed it to my mother and I said to her, no one's going to take you away. When they give me this beautiful gift of a child, no one's going to take my mother away. My auntie was diagnosed with cancer and said, that's it, I'm gone, I'm dead. She was gone within 12 months. My mother is still alive today. My baby is 23 this year. Wow. So she said the only thing that kept her going was her faith, the power of the mind, the positive. It is funny to say, you know, yes, there was medical intervention, there was this, there was that. But I believe that, you know, if we give up hope, we let go of hope. But if we have that beautiful power or that beautiful belief that there is something more and we're going to be okay, you know, we're going to be okay. Yeah. You know, to me, it's just, the mind is an amazing thing. To give us the strength. We can either give up or we can let go, or we can work with it and find beautiful people like you that will help us to expand on who we are. And Josephine and myself, you know, sit there every day giving people hope. You know, we don't have people sit in front of us because, oh my God, I'm absolutely having an amazing life and can you tell me, you know, how beautiful tomorrow is going to be? Everyone comes to us with a bit of hope.
That's right. But can I just say something, Michael? I also believe if you hang around negative people and they really, really drain you, do you find that that's an impact on ourselves as well? And do you find that that can change with hypnotherapy?
Can I just interrupt? Would that mean that the power of somebody else's mind is potentially affecting
Can that affect you
your
as well?
mind?
That's what I'm saying. You know, if you're negative and you live with someone that's negative, or you've got friends that are negative, can I just ask you, does that have an impact on us as well? Because that can be very overwhelming. It's like, you know...
Yeah, I notice if I'm having a session with a client that's quite negative, I find by the end of that session I'm feeling really drained.
Exactly.
So once the session is finished, I tend to go outside, need to walk away for 5 minutes and recharge. So there's no doubt that energy's energy, and I guess with reality we're going to take it all, and that's why it's good to surround ourselves with positive, wonderful, beautiful people. It's so important.
Yes.
But just going back to the that question, which I love, is the fact that we have, my firm belief is we have all the resources we already have, that we already need, already inside of us. And what I love about hypnotherapy is that we're very different to talk therapists. Instead of doing something over many, many years, all we're concerned about is where are you right now and where do you want to be? And that's why we're very much results driven. And I love that we can narrow it down and focus on those specific things and really help you to get from point A to point B, and where do you feel your weaknesses are, and that's what we help you with. So we're results driven. Going back to what you said, which I loved as well, it's like planting a seed in our client's mind, and we give it the right amount of temperature, the right heat, the right fertilizer. Not the right word, but you know, the right everything. And really, it's up to the client then what happens after they leave the office, and they can either work with me, because I do homework after we leave, and do that homework, and allows that environment where the seedling turns into the seed turns into a seedling, and the opportunity to grow, and that's that possibility you mentioned before. There is always hope, and once you can find that one burst of inspiration, it's endless.
And I think there was a guy called Stuart Wilde that wrote a book many, many years ago called Affirmations back in the 80s. And he said the most you can do is just drop a seed and then walk away and let that seed germinate and grow from there. And that's the power of that person's mind to take that seed. And I just remember when I was young, every single Thursday, my mum drove to the city to go to David Jones. That was her day where we would go shopping, and I'd sit in the back of the Valiant, or whatever it was. We had a Valiant, and we would drive past the old Channel 10 studios at North Ryde, and I'd look out the window every week for years and years, like from this big to that big, and I'd go, I'm going to work there one day.
Wow.
Mummy, I'm going to work there one day. And Mum used to say jokingly to her friends, oh, you know, it's getting a bit old. We know Viv's going to work there one day. And I'll never forget, we were at a dinner party, and I was probably in my late 20s or whatever, and I was out with my mum and dad one night, and my mum said to everyone, she goes, you know, I just realised Vivian's first job was at Channel 10 at that studio in television as a makeup artist. That was her first job. And Mum reminded me that that's what I said every week as a kid growing up. So how's that for the power of the mind? Somehow I created that reality that I was going to work there, and that was it. I worked there. Didn't work at 7, didn't work at another network. Channel 10.
I remember Muhammad
Did you know?
Oh, I think I might have known. I think I might have had a
And
little...
also, too, you look at like Muhammad Ali. He used to come out and say,
Oh my gosh,
I am the greatest.
exactly.
I am the greatest. I am the best boxer in the world. And what was he? He was the greatest.
Yes,
That's what he, you know,
Believed in
hypnotised himself. Before he got on there, I am the greatest.
Before he became anywhere near the greatest.
Near the greatest.
He knew it in his
said.
mind.
He knew in his mind. So to me, he's a great inspiration. Okay, so that's what I mean. I am the greatest.
But it's, you know, you feel sad and sorry for yourself. Well, that's where you're going to stay. Or
That's
if
right.
you know, if you're happy, and as you said, you walk into a room and you're in a really, really good mood and everyone's down, it's going to be like a deck of cards. You know, it's going to flow. But if you walk into a room grumpy and sad and sorry for yourself, everyone's going to go, oh, stay away from her.
Right.
You know, I always say happy life. Happy life.
My belief is things are always happening simultaneously the whole time, you know. And we get out of bed and we stump our toe and we kick something over and we're running late for work.
Yeah.
And that FM frequency, let's call it FM crap, is what we tend to notice FM more crap.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of just, I guess it's more than positive thinking. It's a matter of changing that feeling, and really just saying, well, okay, what's happened to me has just happened to me. And what happens when you flick that switch is like you wouldn't sit in front of a TV show that's rubbish. You get up and change the channel.
That's right.
I think our mind has that ability as well to flick that switch, and we start to notice something small that's positive and something more that's positive. And what happens then, because things are happening simultaneously, we're just noticing more of that positivity around us.
And also what I like in your sessions, Michael, is the emotional freedom technique that you use.
I love it,
You know,
EFT, yes.
I love it. What's it called?
EFT, emotional freedom, you're right.
I was going to say UFO. UFO,
Be
whatever.
downloaded too.
And
Positive alien experience.
So I like the EFT experiences, and you know what? I use it,
Yes.
and it does calm you down.
Yeah.
It puts you in that great state.
Why I think it works is clinical hypnotherapy takes a lot of things away from traditional Chinese medicine. And look, traditional Chinese medicine has been around for what, 2,000 years?
Yeah.
We don't always have the science behind it, but we know it works.
Yeah.
So we tend to use a lot of their things. And one of the things we tend to do is use EFT, which is a tapping process, which unlocks energy that's connected to our body, and using an affirmation and an energy unblocker. It really just helps us to move in that direction. Again, it's a multitude of small tools I love to use, because hypnotherapy, as powerful it is, it's just one tool, you know, and the more tools you give a client and the more they use, the more that pathways open up where it's a positive outcome.
I think one of the most beneficial things I've done this year is yoga. So I started really committed to yoga, and my teacher is, I would call her quite spiritual, and at the beginning of the class she says, no, I want you to leave everything outside, and I really don't care who you are or what you're doing. That stuff stays outside. This hour is together, but of course you go in and you're like, I've got to do this and I haven't done that, and blah, 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 blah. But she makes us do this incredibly deep breathing technique where we all sound like hissing snakes, because she gets us to dump our emotions out with this very deep breathing. And I swear to God, when I always am a little bit irritated at the beginning that we've got to do this deep breathing stuff, but within about 10 minutes, I'm in it. And so for me, if I'm in the course of a day and things are a little bit out of sync, I just And I find I can kind of centre with breathing, and that's like you're saying, that's just another
I think
technique.
breath is just one of the most amazing things.
Totally
You know, we
agree.
breathe every day and we take it for granted, but to actually breathe, using that
intention.
breath to control who we are, it can control anger, it can control sadness, it can control anything. It can ground us instantly. You know, I always say, take 4 deep breaths in, hang on to it for 4 and let it go on 4. Do it 4 times and on sleep, bang. You know, you're having a bad time at work, go in the toilet, don't scream, take 4 deep breaths. You know, just use that breath to help you. Another funny thing I teach my students is basically take those 4 deep breaths, imagine a big case in the front, put all your rubbish in that case, take it outside, lock it in the boot because it doesn't belong to you when we do something today. It's always there to be there. You can unlock it and take it home, but while you're sitting in that moment,
It's out there.
It's out there.
And it's also the swish technique that you taught me, Michael, and the swish pattern. That is also very interesting. So what does that actually entail, the swish pattern?
It's an NLP, so it's a neuro-linguistics programming, and it's all about how we interpret information, and the swish pattern just forces the mind to go from one state to another rapidly. So it sort of shocks the mind, if you like, and it's just a process where you use a finger and you think about a particular thing and you actually have an image in your mind and you can flick it or swish it. And for some people, they really love it, and again, it's a multitude of tools, and I know the clients that love it, I use it a lot, and there's some clients that just don't like it because it doesn't connect with them at all, and that's fine, we just move on from that. But it's a pattern, it's a technique I use every now and then. I sort of pick my clients, and the ones I know may really appreciate it, they're the ones that really run with it and really enjoy it.
Okay.
And just
It can be quite powerful, actually. It can be absolutely powerful.
And just going back to the breathing technique, which you said beautifully, is the fact that our breathing, we just take it for granted. And when you think about what a smoker does when they're stressed, the first thing they do is, ironically, when we're smoking, what
Deep
are we doing?
breath.
We are breathing correctly.
So
And
that's
this is
why
what-
they think it's...
Yep, so 4,200 highly toxic chemicals cannot relax us. Our mind, our body goes into overdrive.
That's
Our
so
mind
true.
says, oh my God, it feels so good, and that's because we're just breathing deeply and slowly. And this what when we're stressed, our body tenses up, and what it does, it restricts blood flow and oxygen to the brain. The brain starts to panic about the situation we're in. We think it's panicking over. Sorry, the brain's starting to panic because of the lack of oxygen and the lack of blood flow. We think it's panicking over the situation we're in. So what the brain says is, hey, I'm clever, I know how to get you to breathe in deeply, I'll remind you to smoke when you're stressed.
Yeah.
So we use a multitude of techniques, and one of them is a really simple breathing technique, which I love. 4x4 is one of my favourites. 7-11 is another one, so think of the convenience stores, so 7 in, 11 out, and it's the breathing out that calms us and gets us centred as well. Again, it's just a multitude of
You're
tools.
very focused on that breathing technique
I
as
love
well.
it. It's, because, you know, think of this. The older we get, the lazier we become with our breathing. We're not even using all of our chest. We're shallow, panting. And that's why yoga is so fantastic, and even meditation's fantastic, because it forces us to breathe in deeply and exhale slowly, and that's so imperative for our minds to relax, and it's detoxifying. And there's so many benefits to deep breathing, it's not funny. Even losing weight, it's just attached to so many things.
Now, Michael, another thing too I'd like to ask you. If someone comes to you and says, look, I want to give up smoking, but I want to cut down,
Yep.
are they ready or not
Yeah,
ready?
yeah, yeah.
I mean, you know, I want to
That's
give up drinking, but I only want a half
Yeah.
bottle instead of a full bottle.
The first and foremost, whatever the client wants, they get.
Yeah.
You know, that's if they want to. My personal belief is when they come to see me and they've got this neural path that says, oh, I want to stop, it's in their face, it's invading them, their mind space, the best outcome is to drop it, get out of it, and move that neural path. But unfortunately, once something goes from the conscious into the subconscious, it's there for life. So all it takes is one puff. 3 days later,
Back again.
they start all over again.
Yes.
But if a client does say they just want to cut down, I respect that.
Okay.
It's, out of all our habits out there, smoking is the worst. Smoking's killing them. Every cigarette's 14 minutes off your life removed. It's aging our body.
Every cigarette.
14 minutes.
Wow.
And you know what? Probably 99% of them know about it.
Yeah, that doesn't worry them,
Do you
does
know,
it? Agreed.
a very close girlfriend of mine rang me a month ago and she said to me, Viv, I have had this very sore throat, but she said, I actually can't swallow properly, and I'm very frightened because she's a heavy smoker. She smokes a packet of cigarettes a day. I said, why haven't you gone to the doctor? Because she said, it's like literally there's something in my throat that I can't even get the food down properly. I said, Why? Go to the doctor now. She said, because I don't want to tell them that I smoke. I'm embarrassed. I said, great, that's not okay.
No, it's not.
It's
Just, you know, she said, but everyone goes there and says, oh, I don't smoke. She says, I do smoke. I have to tell them that I smoke. And if I am sick, then I have caused this myself.
Can I share something with you there? And I want that lady to put, their friend to put her mind at ease. I've seen so many doctors that come to see me to stop smoking.
Doctors.
I've seen so many nurses.
True.
I've seen so many personal trainers.
Yeah.
You know, forget your pride. Your pride's useless in a coffin. You may as well just get up, face it, deal with it, move on.
Guys, there's a lot to be learned from this solid and wisdomic words of advice tonight. And yeah, thank you so much for tonight, guys.
Thank
The great readings. It's been fantastic having you on, and we look forward to having you back, because I think that there's, you know, we're just tapping the surface literally of the understanding of it, because I think that hypnotherapy, there's, you know, it's a great way to fast track issues that people have that they're not having any success rate with in traditional other forms or modes of therapy or even medication. Guys, AOI is now on a break for a few weeks. We're having some renovations to the studio. Literally, we don't have half the studio at the moment. It's all been pulled out. We don't have an entryway. We don't have a reception. There's nowhere to sit. There's no chairs. So we're having a few weeks off until the renovations are complete, and then we'll be back. I think it's about the 3rd week of October we'll be back. I just want to say before we close up for the evening, we had our up close and personal with Mitchell Coombs last Saturday. What an incredible experience. I was absolutely honoured to be part of the experience and witness to the people that came to the live audience and had the communications that they received from Mitchell from the other side. Incredibly accurate and phenomenally accurate communications, and a tremendous amount of healing for some of the people here that received messages from their loved ones. It was quite phenomenal. He's an incredible young man. In his 30 short years of living, he's a dynamo. He's hilarious. He's a comedian. He has absolutely no sense of even awareness of what he does. He's so humble, and yet he comes in, and when he communicates with spirit, he is on fire, and he brought the house down, and that night and that day Spirit was in the house. So we just want to say thank you for everyone that came. It was truly a blessed experience for all of us, and one that I think is a lifetime memory, as many people have fed back to us since then, was for them. So guys, we'll see you in a few weeks. Thanks for our lovely members on our panel again. Thank you coming all the way from Wollongong, both of you guys, and yourself. Everybody does and puts in so much effort for this show, and thanks once again to you guys at home for watching us and continuing to be loyal to us as well. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
That was excellent.
See?